Oh, you're not hearing me. Okay, there you go. You should be able to hear me now. Just in time for the gong. All right. So let's just place our feet on the floor, or if you're sitting cross-legged, bum on the floor, and just connect in to this space. Get yourself in yourself, right? Whatever that means to you. For this moment, whether you stay for 1 minute, 5 minutes. I had a cancellation because of an illness, so I don't have to rush this morning. I was trying to work out how I was going to fit it all in, but we're good, we're good. The universe said, hey, you're supposed to be on live today, and here's some space for you to do it. And I was like, well, I'm sorry for the illness, and we'll send love and grace there. However, I needed to speak with you on Zoom. Yeah, and you on Insta and Facebook. So if you are on Rhombus Healing Arts, I can see your comments. So just get yourself here, ready to breathe, and breathe into the bell, breathe into the gong, breathe into the sound, okay? Let's do it up here. Breathe, take it in. Breathe yourself back to the self. Bring an aspect of the soul that you have expanded into your field through all your senses, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ears, and any other orifice. Right? Breathe it. Bringing the soul back. Hold it for a moment. And as you breathe out, stay here, and breathe out. And do that one more time. Really breathing in all the aspects of the self back together. Hold it here. Bring yourself back to the self. And as you breathe out, holding yourself together. And just notice how you feel when you breathe. When you breathe with that intention. Some of you know this. It's a refresher for some of you. Some of you have never heard this before. When we are viewing and looking and experiencing the world as we should, we are here to live and experience fully. And at times, through our sensory system, our attention goes to stuff, things, places, people. And it's a practice. It's a mastery, really, to be able to breathe and live and be, view, experience, are in the world, and hold yourself or your soul, that part of the soul that's able to be embodied here. So you can practice that. It's a beautiful, simple practice of breathing, commanding. So there is a more advanced practice where we command that aspect of soul back. Come back now. Come back now. And as we breathe out, stay here. Stay here. Okay? So you can still interact. You could still be fully alive. It takes practice. So, who's here today? I see a few familiar faces. I see some people on chat. Welcome, welcome. So what I would like to go into the plan is another aspect of an energy understanding for vital health and wellness. So when you hear the word hormones, you might think it's just for women. We can't live without them, men and women. So if you've got a hormonal imbalance as a male, your life's going to be just as, I was going to make up a word then, turmoilic. Or like, what's another word for that? You know, the ocean's going to be a little rough when you're riding in your tinny, right? Your little rowboat. Whether you've got oars or not, right? Whether you've got a motor or some oars. Oh, okay, turbulent. There you go. What did I say? Or tumultuous is another word, right? Tumultuous. Anyway, hormones. But what we're going to look at some neurovascular points that connect into the three major glands that assist the flow of blood, the bloodstream flow, and our hormones, and our metabolism. So male or female or anything, however you, what do you call it? You know what I need to do? Can you see how I can't find my words? Where's your spoon, ladies and gentlemen? Where's your spoon? So this little cup, I was telling the ladies yesterday in class, this little cup, it's a measuring cup. It's stainless steel, and for the life of me, I don't have stainless steel spoons here. It's like, what are the spoons made of these days? Anyway, they're not stainless steel. Particularly in America, I've found the cutlery is not stainless steel, so it doesn't work with silver or other metals. It will work if, so I know some of you that watch me all the time, you know this, but some of you might not know, or you need a refresher. So here's a magnet. If the magnet doesn't stick, it won't work. Okay? Simple as that. So I've got another little spoon here. This is from Australia. Right? So I can use that. So you can use a fridge magnet to test it. You know, most people have a fridge magnet or something like that. Just test it. Or it'll say on the back, stainless steel. Okay? So this is awesome because sometimes, like right now, I can just stick that on the floor and put my foot on the top of it. I can move it around if I want, but I can just stick it. I used to use selenite, but my selenite, I have a broken one here. But I might have my palm stone here. I think it's in the other room. Oh, yes, I do. So there's these palm stones. But because I like to use these on my body, or, you know, yeah, I don't want to put it on the floor, right? So you can't wash these. They disintegrate. So you can wipe them over. If you've got selenite smooth, that's called a palm stone. It's smooth, so you can use it for massaging, you know, or if you've got pain or an injury, you know, literally have a wound, you know, you can either tie it to the wound, or, you know, put a sock on your hand and stick it in your hand, or sleep with them in a sock on your feet, put it under your pillow or behind your head. When I did in-person, you know, I ran an in-person clinic, I often put it under the head in the hollow. It's the electric, one of the main electric points is that hollow just at the base of the skull. Just place it there. It's a major power point, but there you go. Universe is telling me you needed a little update on your earthing, grounding tools, right? So selenite helps with swelling, helps with wound healing, helps with swelling. Did I say that? Bruising. I find that if I've injured myself, which is rare, but on occasion I do, putting a piece of selenite or doing figure eights with selenite. Selenite resonates with the number 8. So you're not only doing figure eights, but the frequency has a correspondence with the infinity, the 8. Right? So I'm modeling to you when you start to lose your words or you get a little scrambled. So that might be something. I haven't been scrambled for a long time, but we had to do this in class yesterday. So if I'm speaking with you, or you write me a message, or I'm looking at you and I can feel it. I don't know if she's on, but one of the ladies yesterday was chewing chewy gum, and all I could taste was this, like I could see it. It was like this green minty flavor, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? So I was tasting what she was tasting. I feel what you feel. To a degree, I'll close it off most of the time, but if I'm tired or run down, it's more difficult. Who's like that? Just put a yes in the or a Y in the chat, like, or a thumbs up or something. Like, who's like that? When you're tired, you tend to feel more of everything. Actually, I'm going to bypass a little bit. I'm going to share with you what I plan to, but you know how I roll. You know that I'm going where whoever's watching is needing this a little more. We need to do this before we go into the next part, okay? So, scrambled energy, what does that even mean? What I could do is put some more information in, maybe in the, I'll do a little post, because years ago I made an app. Actually, I've made 2, but my creative perfectionist side didn't think it was spectacular enough looking, because it just had little images of me doing exercises, and I wanted to have cartoons or avatars that were more exciting to watch, and yeah, well. But all the information of the app is there. So I'm going to pull that piece out and post it on homolateral, on the scrambled energy, because majority, so just say if you're sick or you run down, your energy is going to be not crossing over. So you see the 8, okay? You see the 8. There's a crossover. It's a circle that's twisted. That's all it is. Circle that's twisted. But that center is for me, it's the neutrality. We've got the positive, negative, neutral, right? I'm always talking about the three prongs: positive, negative, neutral. Positive, negative, neutral. So we have our energies crossing over all over the shop. I mean, there are energetics. There are so many subtle energies in our system that move in different patterns and different speeds, and do produce different outcomes for our health and wellness and vitality, right? And if that is I was going to say, well, stopped, slowed, or too much, right? So too much energy, not enough energy, and to lead in with that. So bear with me. I'm looking at you on Zoom to go. I'm going to lose where I am, and you're going to bring me back because I've gone off on my little circle, right? But we're going to come back, because what is trauma? And what is the stress response? And what is your overwhelm? When you get overwhelmed, right? How many of you get overwhelmed? When you get overwhelmed or sensitive, right? A sensitivity, you start to get too much information too fast. Too much information too fast. That's it. For your system. It may not be too much for somebody else. It might be too little for someone else, but for your system, and that's all you got to worry about, is how you work in your system. And we're all as individual, right? As the stars, all these little stars behind me. This was the backdrop from yesterday. I thought I'd leave it up. Instagram can't see it, but anyway. They've got a different, they've got the rhombus, So too much or not enough for too long. Not enough stimulation. So when we talk about energetics, it's like over energy, under energy, or in the window, right? Just the optimal zone. So regardless of whether we're talking about the physiological stuff of like your health and wellness on a physical, biological level, or the subtle energies that feed that, right? Everything that I share is from both of those and more. Physical, energetic, right? Emotional, mental, or we could say on a spiritual level, intellectual, right? The intellect. So some of you know about those levels or the worlds or the realms or the stages of development, okay? Spiritual development. So why am I saying this? Because you may be interested in only the spiritual stuff and going for the heavens, the connection with the beloved. If we negate the physical, the earth, then you're only half of the system. And that's suffering too, if you want to call it that, right? Buddha talks about suffering. Life is suffering. I teach that the life is expansion, contraction, love and fear, positive, negative, and the in-between is the neutrality, the neutral mind, right? Homeostasis, where you can sit and be all of that. So how do you do that? If you're moving along in the world and you have energy that's not moving or it's moving too much, it will create pain. If there's not enough movement, maybe it's creating a numbness. In trauma and shock and attachment work, we talk about that window of tolerance and how the nervous system sort of plays its role in, hyperarousal or hypoarousal. And when you're living in this world, particularly if you feel like you're sensitive, so yesterday, let me just touch on what we were talking about yesterday, because I think this will be helpful. Your survival resources or your survival tools are the things and the ways that you are in the world that helped you get through difficult situations in the past, right? So if your primary caregivers, it could have been your mum or your dad or your grandparents or your aunties, or you might have been in foster care, or, had a neighbour look up, whoever was your primary carer, how they were right? And how you responded to how they were could and can be these attachment styles, right? So if you spoke and they punished you for your whatever they may have called that, right? Insubordinance, or, you know, children are to be seen and not heard. That was back in the day, you know. Or you were just to do what you were told and not have a mind of your own, or whatever it is, you know, put in the blank for yourself. There will be a way of being for you. Or you could think about this for your own children, or, you know, the people around you. And you can see that in somebody's posture, in the way they speak, in the way they move, in the way they are in the world. Whether they're fast or slow, whether they get spun out by too much information, or there's a slowness. I'm going to call it a slowness, but it's like no judgment on any of this, right? Fast or slow, one's not better than the other. It's like love and fear, one's not better than the other. They're just a part of the polarity. Do you understand? But it's knowing where you are, how your system works. And if I'm fast and you're slow in a particular piece of your, let's say, your development or your energetics, what I do for me is not going to be optimal for you, and vice versa. Hear me? I taught this when I worked with extremely traumatized children. I had to work out, and it's not by asking them, it's by being with them. So I would go and hang out with them, and I'd play. I'd take them to the park. I'd kick the footy around. We would make music. We'd do all sorts of things to see how their stress, how they responded to information input, all sorts of information input. But we did it through play. We did it through creative means. I'm not a sit down and tell me your problems person, right? Because as soon as you go to tell me what's going on for you, right? If it's trauma, if it's sort of in that area, it takes you out of your window of tolerance. It takes you out of your way of regulating your nervous system. Then you're spinning out. You can't tell me. You can't tell me. Think about it. When you feel overwhelmed, can you think clearly? Can you think clearly? Can you recall? Do you have memory recall? Are you able to express? Or is there a shutdown of some description? Of some description. So that might be I see it like this, because it's like I see it, right? It's a close down, so stop talking and move away, okay? But how do you do that? How do you do that if you do that? Or are you a fighter? Are you a do you tend to do this, or do you tend to do this? Or are you sort of in the middle? Or do you do a little bit of both? Because you can bounce. Too much, not enough, too much, not enough, too much, not enough, right? It's like with these kids, how I would teach them about themselves so that they didn't think there was something wrong with them. It's our natural survival instinct, right? Yeah, it depends on the situation. Yes, it does. It does. So we won't do it today because it's deeper work, but you know, which we were looking at yesterday, and this is why I guess it's come up. I didn't plan to talk about this, but hey, it's in the field, so it's come up. We do go deeper because then I'm there to help co-regulate, right? Because we go there and the system starts to, it's like being able to go, oh, there it is, right? Let's deal with what's presenting, right? What are you feeling? So even now, feel into the body. Feel into the body. So if you felt when I did the 3 gongs, if you felt how you were then, feel into the body now. And is there a difference? Are you triggered in some way, even if it's slightly? Because what is happening is you're starting to think, pardon me, about an aspect of self that you may not be comfortable with, or you may have a judgment on, meaning if you don't like your body, or your body has not, your body's let you down in some way, shape or form, right? It might be, you know, you went to run and you tripped over and fell and hurt yourself. Or, you know, I always used the riding the bike one because I used to stack my push bike all the time when I was little. Going down Killer's Hill. And this tiny little kid, my tiny little bike, you know, anyway. I was a bit of a daredevil. And so I used to hurt myself all the time, broke my arm, roller skating, doing chariot races, and kept roller skating, and then smashed into the, because do you know what chariot racing is? It's when you're sort of squatted down and you've got one leg out and you're on roller skates and somebody's pushing you. And on the rink where we had the races, it was a huge hill and then it'd go around. And so I was young, obviously, but if you lost control coming down that hill on that corner, you just smacked into the pole and would flip. So I did that a couple of times, broke my arm, kept going. And then by the end of the thing, I was like, I think there's something wrong with that. I think I was like 8 or 9, right? Mum picked us up and they sprayed some stuff on it and she took me to hospital, and yeah, anyway. My point being, I'm not one to go down and in necessarily, but yes, it depends on the situation, because there have been times when there's been a trigger. So somebody asks a question. At school it used to happen a lot, right? I'd get asked a question and I knew the answer, but there was something that was triggering to that. And what would happen is the blood would go from my prefrontal cortex, right, to my reptilian, or my old brain, you know, to the brain stem, ready to what? To fight, or to protect myself, or to one of those survival instincts, survival resources. Those survival resources, there'll be some of them, and I'm talking generally, so if this isn't for you, that's cool. However, near every human on this planet has trauma, shock, or some sort of attachment. You know, we were all brought up with parents that weren't perfect, right? If anyone had a perfect parent, I'd like to meet you. You know, we're human, and humans aren't that perfection. We're not, you know, we work it out, and via working it out, sometimes our offspring are the ones that we're working it out with, and then we end up awesome grandparents. Because why? We've made all our mistakes with our children. And then we can, you know, or our animals, you know, it's just, you know, it's no judgment. When we start judging ourselves, like negatively, and saying, you know, oh, I'm hopeless, or I can't do that, I'm useless, or I'm stupid, or, you know, I'm just not as good as that person, or whatever it is that's holding you back from whatever you want to experience in the world. I was saying this morning because I woke up. Sometimes I wake up like bing. I'm like, I'm awake. I'm like a little kid. I'm like, I'm awake. You awake? You are now, right? I'm like, oh, I woke up like that this morning. So my energy, I'm a fire element, which means my energy is really fast. And when I'm on fire, like, it's like joy, like it's just joy, right? So you've caught me in my fire, and I'm just full of joy and energy, and it's fast. Now, some of you may be a different element, and fire is difficult to handle at times. So have you had a friend, or even if it's me, where you might be a little slower, like a metal element, or even wood, which is, wood's, great. I mean, you're all of them. We have all of them. Water elements tend to love fire, right? There's this flowiness to water and fire, right? But the structure, we need to pull in some wood and some metal. Yeah, we often got a lot of earth anyway, but wood and metal to sort of get some structure in there, some infrastructure in there to hold to hold the fire, or to hold the water, or to, you know what I'm saying, or to hold the earth. So you might be one of those infrastructure. That might be your strong one. So when a fire comes in with their like glowing and like so many flames, so many ideas, right? It can wipe you out. Why? Go back to what I said earlier. Too much information too fast. It's not the person. It's like, oh, I don't like that person. I feel exhausted when I'm around them. No, it's the energy. And it's not bad energy. It's actually creative energy. Do you see where I'm going? So when you, so this is going into rhythms and energy styles. So maybe we can look at that another day. But what rhythm you are, right? How your energy flows or doesn't flow. So when fire is not flowing or not firing very well, it's panic. So panic's a little different to fear because it's faster, right? It's like, ah, because we're fast, right? Does that make sense? Hang on a minute. So are there any questions about any of that? I know I've gone all over the shop. Let's pull it back around. So this is fire. Fire, water, earth, wood, metal. So it's about not judging yourself as being, different. Like I hear people say, I'm just different, I don't fit in anywhere. Do you know that everybody says that? I haven't met a person, and I work with the human. I've met and worked with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, one-to-one, in group, online, right? It's a human thing, but we just I just think that's part of our journey, to find who we are and how we are. And when we do, we know we are the other people. Again, yesterday I was talking about how to be in your own energy. So whether you're into energetics or not, this may help you, just having a partner or having a child that you really, it sounds strange saying a child that you're really close to. Some children, their energy seems to be more connected for one reason or another. Okay, we don't need to go into that. It's not that they're better or you love them more or whatever. It may be that they, let's just leave it at that. For whatever reason, you may feel their pain. You may feel their sadness, their sorrow, whatever. Whereas the others, you may not so much, right? There's this, connection. You may feel all of them, but it may be with your animals as well. But with partners, with husbands or wives or, you know, partners, after some time, it's different actually for everybody, but after some time, you end up, if I was to energy test you, you can end up testing as them and vice versa, right? This is one of the first things I used to teach way back, like 15 odd years ago, teaching how to energy test, right, with partners that would come. And I was saying yesterday, this is similar to how what we call surrogacy works, where if, for instance, Rebel, if you were holding your puppy and I wanted to energy test your puppy, you could hold the puppy and there's a way of becoming the energy of the puppy, or like being that conduit. So I test your physical to test the puppy, or if it's an infant, right? So for particular types of energy testing, you know, biofeedback, they use an arm or a leg or, you know, things like that. I don't have to do that. But when I teach other people how to energy test, we use those biofeedback ways, right? Because not everybody is intuitive or is a mystic or, you know, gets their information that way. So we have all of these different ways of getting information, no matter where you're at, right? But does that make sense? It's like, that's how we can test somebody who may be in a coma or whatever, using somebody else, because it's like taking, you know, or not taking on their energy, but it's connecting to them so that I can do it through you for them. So taking that example, if you've been with your partner for a while, that there's a lot of connectedness, and you're feeling aches and pains, but you can't work out why. and it's sort of funny, not funny, because this is sort of my life. It has been my whole life, and you know, I used to joke about it, and I'd share that my family used to call me and joke I was a hypochondriac, purely because there was always something going on. It wasn't mine. And now I know that, and it's part of how I work, because like the chewy gum, somebody eating, I can taste what they're eating. But even in spirit, you know, I'll say to spirit, you know, for evidence, there's certain ways to get different evidence, right? So it could be like, what's your favorite food? And I'll taste it. But I also taste cancer, and if somebody was on a lot of medication, like long-term illness, it's a taste for me. So I taste energy, right? You know, I have all the clairs, but that's by the by. That doesn't, it doesn't even matter, right? For me, it's just like, that's the human condition. Everybody can. They've just got to, you know, connect in with their dormant sensory system. But what I was saying about, you know, if I sit next to somebody, usually nowadays I don't pick up anybody's stuff unless I want to, right? Or if I'm working, so in a group, like our programs, as soon as I go into that group, the intention is for that group. So whatever they need is, you know, I'm open. I'm an open conduit. In these lives, I am to a degree. If you communicate with me, it's more so. So that's why I say, you know, communicate with me to connect on that next level, so I can start to, you know even deeper what you may need to know without you sort of telling me, you know. But it'd be really simple if you just told me. And I go there, but, you know, whatever works. Okay, so what it is, so when I sit next to, you know, say my partner, and I, you know, it's been happening lately, because I'm like, oh, this pain. I haven't done anything. Okay, so what's the da-da-da? And he'll go, oh, I've had that all day. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, you can have it. And I just do this movement and it cuts it off, right? It's because I verbalize it. And I think out loud too, which is annoying to some people, but it's the way I process. But if I hadn't have done that, then I probably would have just sat in that, going, oh yeah, maybe I just did too much with that arm or whatever. You start thinking, oh, why is that hurting, right? So I'm just saying to you, if you feel something, you don't even need to know. You just do this figure 8 in front of you. So it's like doing a figure 8, not that way, that way. No, you can't see that way. Anyway, do you understand? It's like doing it that way. So yesterday, for coordination, because some people, and this is going back to the homolateral, right? Some people get really mixed up, scrambled energy. So see how I've gone right round? Yeah, that's how it works. Stay with me long enough, you get the whole picture. It's fire, people, it's fire. So if you get your left and right mixed up a lot, or you've been sick, you've had a cold, or I don't know, you've just been off and you can't get better, it just seems like it's lingering, the energies may not be crossing over. Okay, so there's that. We're just going to put that there. Before we go there, you've got this this connection to another person, and you're picking them up, and you don't want to pick them up, right? And it's usually, this is for a close partner. It could be for a child, your child, right? There's other things to do for other people, but this one is more for, those really close relationships. And you're not cutting off from them, which is really important. You're just getting your own field back to, okay, how are you in your little bubble of energy, right? Because if you're anything like me, it's very rare you're in your own little bubble, because my work is, for humanity. So it's like being that conduit. Every now and then, I'm allowed to have a little break, and I'll go, okay. Okay, that's how I feel. Oh, awesome, right? And then, I'm back into it. So, is that clear? Is that clear? Do you understand what I mean? Doing this figure 8. So those of you that were in class yesterday, we did all this. So, if you've got any other questions you want to go into. Homolateral is the crossing over of energy, which I said before. So there are different ways of doing that. Actually, let's do a simple way that we didn't do yesterday, and I don't have to get up to show you. I really wanted to take you outside today, but I didn't. I wanted to sit outside, so maybe we'll start doing that again. The weather's really beautiful. So this came about through. Let me see how I'm going to tell this story. So generally, when we do a homolateral repatterning, which means your energy starts to go up and down rather than crossing. Okay, if it's not crossing, there's certain energetics that need to cross and move in certain sequence patterns, and if it doesn't, the flow is off. And what have we learnt so far? That the flow is important. If it's too much too fast, there's an issue. If there's not enough for not long enough, that's an issue. You see, it's like driving the car, right? Your accelerator gets stuck on, and you're trying to slow down, and then the brake pads wear out, right? And it's metal on metal, you can't slow down. That can be an issue for a lot of people like me, right? On fire, right? people around me, people close to me. So Eric says this, because it could be like late at night and I'm still like, yeah, what can we do now? Okay, are you tired? Maybe we could watch a movie or something. And it's like, he'll say, are you overtired? Why? Because I taught him to. Because I know my system so well, right? That I put things in place that if I'm not able to see it, right? Because as soon as he says that, I go, oh, yeah, okay. Calm the system down. Come down, like, right? Start to, it's like literally a campfire. You still want the embers glowing for when you wake up. Yeah, right? But when you go to bed, you're going to sort of dampen the fire down so you can sleep and there not be a bushfire through the night. Is this making any sense to you? How many of you feel you might be fire or have a lot of fire? Where are my fire people? That's all right. You might be water. Water has, water has that flow. Water can go, there's a lot, I've got a lot of water as well. But the water can freeze. Again, it's the flow. So I think today is about the flow. So we are going to do the process in a moment, but let me tell you the story about this homolateral. So how this came about from memory is that so soldiers marching, right? And we'd see that I'm ex-infantry, you would see when you're on parade and you're doing all these marching and whatnot, and you will see when people are marching not coordinated, right? So they're marching right leg, right hand, and right leg, left hand, left and right, rather than left and right and left. Do you understand? We call it square gating in Australia anyway, square gating. It's a big no-no. It throws everybody else out because you might have, 30, 50 people marching and there's one square gating, which means they're out of time and they're out of sync and their bodies, right? They're homolateral. The energies aren't crossing over. If the energies aren't crossing over, it's really difficult to march crossing over. It's really difficult, that left and right contralateral shifting. With me? And if that's the case, it's really difficult to heal from whatever's going on for you. So if you don't need it, it won't hurt you. But I'm going to tell you why it's important for veterans or people in the military, or when they've left, right? So really it was to do with veterans, because when we got veterans to march, it triggered them. It reminded them of the past. Anything, so those of you that, I used to teach about the 1 grain of sand, and if you cut off that 1 grain of sand memory, all the grains of sand around it will be cut off as well, and that can go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So you'll lose a lot of your past. So if one piece of the memory is sort of brought back in, so if you're in an infantry unit, you went to combat, you maybe have PTSD, or they used to call it shell shock, all those sorts of things. So, right, it's triggered. So the marching can trigger the memory of the military, and the memory of the military triggers of right? So doing homolateral repatterning for somebody who has trauma in those areas is not advisable. So what was brought in was to do this instead. Okay, works the same. So even if you're in class yesterday, I didn't show you this. So starting at the mid-brow, and you're literally drawing the figure 8, crossing over that mid-brow point, because there's a crossover point here. Okay. So we're picking up the crossover point here. Do it one way, whatever way you're doing it, just continue doing that 3 or 4 times and feel it, like slow it down, see what it feels like slowed down, and then maybe speed it up a little bit. Just feel what it feels like. And when you've got an idea, and just sort of feel in your body, like, do I feel that calm me down, or do I feel it pick me up? Like what do you feel when you do it? And then try and do the other way. And just notice what it feels like going the other way. It doesn't feel as soothing this way for me, right? It's a bit more uncoordinated. Or maybe if I changed hands and then I did it. Okay, so interesting. With my right hand, I can do it with both ways. With my left hand, I can only do it one way and it feel good. And I'm left-handed, but I'm ambidextrous, but I'm primarily left-handed. So anyway, just play around with that just for a moment while I have a drink. And then take both hands, start at the center. This might take some practice. And so go across the eyebrows, come under the eyes, cross over at the brow, or the nose, where the nose meets the brow, round, under the eyes, cross over, come at the top of the brow, around the eyes, under the eyes, cross over. So see which one feels best for you and do that one. The 2 hands is a little bit more advanced, so once you sort of get the crossover, you can do that, but then just try. So for homolateral reprogramming, it's like crossing over that midline, right? And so we often would do sort of crossing. So you could try this. So put your right hand, sort of swing it out and bring it over to the left knee, and then take your left hand, swing it out and bring it to the right knee, and just make these big wings or these big circles out to the side, and do that 12 times if you want to do that one. If you're really struggling with that homolateral, like it's not crossing over, the repatterning, if you can do the one where you're doing this 12 times, then you do same arm, same leg, right? 12 times. It takes some energy, right? So if you're unwell, it does take some energy. You can lay in bed and do it. If you can't move, you can use your intention. We used to do a lot of work with people, who were paralyzed in the mirror, like doing work in the mirror, right? And then do another 12, crossing over, opposite hand to knee, okay? So 12 crossing over, hand to knees, 12 up and down, 12 crossing over. That's the homolateral repatterning, right? But if that's an issue, try the figure 8s around the eyes. If you can, practice until you can do the 2, it's getting all the crossing over, even of the brain, contralateral left to right, the brain, right? The eyes, how they, we see, and then it crosses over to the back of the head, opposite sides. Yeah? All right. Okay. So Tina's saying that was electric I think you said it meant electrifying. What part was electrifying? All right, so we're nearly at time. We are at time. Do you want to do what I had planned? Oh, the 2 fingers both sides. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, well, feel that. And notice, let me know. I always say let me know. And I'm sure that you think, oh, she won't want to know. No, I want to know. I want to know. Right? If you do stuff and it feels awesome, let me know. If it feels crappy, let me know. Right? It's all part of the, oh, okay, so this isn't working for this person. What's going on there? Right? It's what I said. I can only give you certain things in a public arena like this because of the individuality of your systems. So we've got to do things that are more generalized for everyone, right? If I had you in a Zoom group and I could see you, and then I could monitor that a little more and take you even deeper. So let me know, and then we can have conversations, whether it's on here. So just feel into yourself, and we're going to go through this process. Triple axis. Some of you will know it. Who knows triple axis? The triple axis point. And this relates to the other hormonal work that we've done in the past weeks. It's another way, and it's a way that I used to go to sleep like this. It's one of the ones I used to do to go to bed, and sometimes I'd wake up and lay just holding the points. So if you need to go, thanks for joining us. If you don't, we'll do this, and then we'll wrap up, because I don't have my 11 o'clock. Needed to cancel because there was an illness in the family. So we wish them well. It just means I can stay with you. So whoop whoop for you. All right. So neurovascular points. Neurovascular. So we're not going to go into what neurovasculars are, and I mean, if I need to on another day. So I talk about a lot of different energy points. I'm assuming that you know. If you don't know, the more you tell me what's not making sense, then I can put something together, either to bring in, or I could just do a little post to say, oh, this is what this is, and this is what this is, and you can, look at it at your leisure. So we've got the 3 major glands, right, that we're going to work with for this triple axis. So I'm assuming none of you know it, but I have taught it for years, so I'm sure somebody has heard of the triple axis. Maybe when I start talking about it, you'll go, oh yeah, I know that one. All right, so we've got the 3 glands or main glands that we're going to talk about today that play a role in our hormonal health, right? Or hormonal activity, which is the health. Too much, not enough. Remember, you're not going to forget this, are you? Too much, not enough. Too much, not enough. So under energy, over energy. Under energy, over energy, right? Same thing. So we have the hypothalamus, okay? Hypothalamus, so that is part of the brain, but it's related to triple warmer, which is a part of the energy system. So we're going to merge the biology or the physiology with the energy, so that no matter what way you look at it, you're going to get something, right? So we've got the hypothalamus, we've got the pituitary gland, which links in energetically to the understanding of the spleen meridian, which is I'm going to keep it short. maybe we can go back over this another day. I'm going to keep it short. The pineal gland energetically links to the heart. So when I say energetically linking, they link to the neurovascular points. So when we have something going on in our system, we can hold particular points on our head. So we got the neurolymphatics, which are in the body, and the neurovasculars are on the head. And there are ways of moving energy just by holding particular points on the head. And they are power-filled, right? So by holding all of these points, and I'll show you how to do it in a moment, we can send energy and information. And we can send energy and information through the blood flow or the bloodstream, right? And we are sending that to the liver. And the liver neurovascular is where we can metabolize all hormones, right? So in a nutshell, that's what we're doing. And now I'm going to show you where the points are. In a way, you don't need to know. Like I could just say, do this, and off you go, right? But some of you are a little nerdy like me, and you like to know the ins and outs. So I'm trying to keep it short. There is so much luscious information about all of these points and what they do and how they keep you, you know, humming and vital and awesome in the world and in your life. And you can just trust that if you do it, it will work, right? So what we're going to do, we use our two hands, right? So we've got the hypothalamus at the back of the head, and it's sort of the opposite to where the eyes are. So you draw a line at the back head point, okay? We have the pituitary at the curve of the head. And you'll all have sort of, some of you don't have curves. You might have a flat head. So where the angle is, I don't know, whatever, the shape, right? And you don't need to know exactly where it is. I'm going to show you how to do it so you don't need to know exactly where all the points are, okay? And the pineal at the top of the head, right? And the liver at the hairline, okay? So what we do, let's take our left hand, right? And we're going to place, let's place the palm of our left hand. I'm just trying to work out how to do it so it makes sense. The palm of the left hand on the hairline, right? That stimulates the liver neurovascular point, right? To support your hormonal metabolism, whether you're male or female, right? Actually, before we do this, I'm going to add in a little bit. I want you to, and I'm going to use two fingers because I don't want you to think I'm giving you the finger, but come here at the middle of your brow, right? And just sort of give it a rub and then push up to the hairline. And then just make these little circles. Some of you, that will really hurt. So just massage, do these little circles and just go a little bit deeper into the hairline and do some little circles. Who is feeling that? Who is feeling that? Like, go into the hair now. Another finger back. And do these little circles along. So I've got well, my part's off a bit today, but, you know, along where you would have the part of your hair, and massage these little circles, right? If there's discomfort there or pain there, there's stagnation. What did we say? Not enough information for too long, right? It's like not moving, or there's too much and those the flow is compromised, right? So you can do that as many times as you want, you know, all the time. This is a really good one for ladies, PMT, if you get headaches, estrogen headaches. So anyone get headaches at the top of the head? Did you know that different headaches mean different things? A headache is not just a headache, it's not just a headache, it's not just a headache, right? Generally, so I'm not a medical doctor. If you get a lot of headaches and whatever, go and seek professional help. But what I'm saying is estrogen, headache, top of the head. Always drink water, though. Another tip is that, you know, our brain doesn't feel pain. And what happens is we dehydrate, and the outer lining starts to go, and the outer lining feels pain, like our, you know, the rest of our head feels pain, right? That's why they can do neurosurgery without, you know, it's like when the person's still, it's like, and their arm moves and all that. I used to work on a neurological ward. So it was all, yeah, neuroscience and brain surgery and stuff. So anyway, that was another life and times of Grizzly Adams. Do you remember that show? Life and Times of Cynthia Harrison. All right, so now that you've made space for the energy to move, right? Or you can just do this, right? You can just do it with the one finger, but I don't want you to think I'm being rude, but, you know, and really massage that. So there's a little bit of info there. I know I'm going fast through it. Well, fast in some ways and slow in other ways. Now we're going to go back to the left palm on the liver point, which is the hairline, right? Where we've just massaged, and some of you will be hurting, and you're not pressing hard. Neurovasculars, you don't have to press hard, you're just touching, right? You're just touching, and the fingers are going to stimulate the pineal gland, which is on that top of the head, and which also secretes melatonin, supports the heart meridian. Okay, so I've got, I don't know if you can see on the side, I've got my palm on the hairline, and then I've just dropped my fingers on the top of the head. Now, you can stay like that, or you can put your hand flat, right? If you're not used to this, your arms will get sore. You can do it laying on your side, or you can do it you can prop your hands on the bench, right? So I'll tell you the second part you could do with your right hand. Now you can use any hand. I'm just saying right or left so that you've got some direction, right? So the right hand, the palm of the hand is stimulating, so it's at the back on the bottom. Ergonomically a bit tricky, right, for some to get that wrist movement. So you can put your hand, so elbow forward and then hand flat, but you're picking up those 2 points regardless, okay? Picking up these 2 points. So you can do it like this, or you can do it like this, okay? It doesn't matter, whatever feels good to you, right? So I'm going to do it like this because it's more ergonomic for me, right? So I'm holding those 4 points, and so we've got the right hand stimulating the hypothalamus to regulate the pituitary function, right, which affects the production of all hormones, including the thyroid. So anyone with thyroid stuff going on, adrenaline, tell me if your adrenaline is, all over the shop. Stress response, right? Cortisol also. We talked about the other day when, or maybe we didn't. I'll have to bring this in one day for you. When you're in a stress response, cortisol and adrenaline can turn the hippocampus off, which is another part of the brain which helps us with our encoding of memory, right? And so we get this split. We're not integrating a stressful memory completely, and the body will hold the charge, which becomes the trigger, right? It becomes the trigger, and you don't know why you're being triggered, but your body is going off. It's because the memory hasn't been laid down fully because of this process of the adrenaline and cortisol turning or blocking to some extent the process of this part of the brain, the hippocampus, right? So not to confuse it with the hypothalamus, right? And the other point is stimulating the pituitary gland, and that affects the production of all the hormones, including progesterone, estrogen, again, thyroid hormones. But it also supports the spleen meridian, and that promotes a balanced hormones, right? So you would hold those points for 3 to 5 minutes. That's why I say lay down, because your arms get sore, your arms get tired, right? Right. Did you do it? Right. But I often will go to bed just holding 2 of them, and then later on I might hold the other 2, or when I wake up. You can test. So if you wanted to know what ones of yours are out, but I generally say just do all of them. Just do all of them. Regulate the whole lot. So the back of the head in line with the eyes is the hypothalamus. That's the the related to the triple warmer. So the stress response, triple warmer meridian or energy is the masculine arm of the energetic nervous system. Okay, and the next one around this one is the pituitary, the curve of the head, and that is related to the spleen meridian or the spleen energy. And so these are neurovasculars, triple warmer and spleen, and the heart is at the top of the head, and we've got liver here. Okay, so in a nutshell, how'd you go? Any questions? Did you do it? Did you try it? If you do that regularly, let me know. Like if you do get a lot of hormonal stuff, like either so I've given you information over the weeks if you're for different types of hormonal issues. So this one basically covers all the hormones, right? So whether you're masculine or feminine, bodied, you can do that. That one where you're going up the front and massaging along, it's really creating space for the blood flow to move. Because if you remember when I said the liver, like all of these points are sending information and blood flow to the liver neurovascular, and that is impacted by the 3 other points, the triple axis, right? Metabolizing all the hormones. So give it a go. Let me know how it works for you, and what came up, what didn't come up. It might be that you do it every day for 3 minutes. You just lay there and hold them for a couple of minutes and just notice if you have had a history of certain things, hormonal, or patterns, like hormones are just packets of information. They carry the information, right? So if the information isn't getting to where it needs to go, again, going back full circle, not enough information or too much information. So whether we're looking at, it's basically your vital health on every level, physiologically, energetically, intellectually, the how you move through your development, through the physical into the spiritual, right? On all of these different levels. And unless they're all in harmony, right? That doesn't necessarily mean balance. In harmony, they're doing their dance. Sometimes one's a bit more than the other. And then the other, right? It's whatever that is right for your system. So it's about finding your tools. That's what I was saying yesterday. It's like you have your little toolbox of what is right for you. There are things that you may need to know to be able to understand the tools. It's like I guess all these products that are for, I don't know, like skincare or whatever it is, shampoo or anything. There's so many different products, and you don't know what your skin is doing, under the surface, or you don't know what's actually happening with your hair. You just know that something's not maybe where you feel it should be. So then you just try all these shampoos, or you try all this skincare, right? Or you try all these energy or these, different therapists, or all these different doctors, or all these different medication, or whatever it is. If you're informed, you can make informed choice, right? So what I shared with you today, I don't know if you can see it or not. You just sit with it. What I shared with you today is the key to all of that. Too much, not enough. What is your system doing at that time? Even hair. Too much oil, not enough oil. Or the skin, and what level of the dermis, right? What level of the skin, what's it doing? What do the hormones have to do with that? What does your diet and movement have to do with that? For those of you that feel ungrounded or unearthed, right? To me, they're slightly different things. But, I can give you tools to get you there. But what's the core of that for you, for your system? And if you feel that you can't concentrate, especially if you've got a lot of energy, right? A lot of ideas, or you're opening up, right? You're opening up to all this information, and it's so much that you want to close down again. I'm saying, don't close down. Just ask me, or ask somebody that has some understanding of the human development on all those levels, like conscious evolution. Conscious evolution is human development, Homo sapien to Homo spiritus. It is literally the science of the human developing to the luminous one, right? It's your spiritual development, but it's your physical development as well. You can't separate the two. You are heaven and earth, and some are just dealing with the earth, and some are only dealing with the heavens. And I'm saying at some point you're going to come to a head, because either your body's going to give out, or you can't pass that threshold. You get stuck, right? Build your container. It's light in the vessel. It's the heavens in the earth. You are the light in the vessel. Heaven and earth, the 8. Okay, on that note, how was that? You good? Any questions? Any comments? Let me just check my peeps. Who's around? Did you try any of those? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling bad? Are you feeling in between? Are you feeling love? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling fear of fear? Are you feeling fear of love? I'm anxious to see how this process works over the week. You're anxious to see. Or is that a I was gonna say, is that a slip, or is that if you're anxious to see? What else? Excited. Okay. Do you know that anxious and excited is one of my favorite places to be, right? It's like excited, but you sort of feel a little anxious as well. That's what I call, vulnerable, right? And then lean in. If ever I feel a little sort of scared but excited, I know I'm on track. I'm on fire right now because what I'm creating and what's coming, I'm bursting, like my heart fire is flaming, right? And when that happens, I know that I'm on path for the movement that I'm here to cause and create, right? And some of you are part of that. Some of you will be part of it down the track, and some of you may just watch and benefit from the warmth of the flame, right? So when I feel that, even though I might feel the fear, I lean into it. That's what vulnerability is. Vulnerability takes courage, that leaning into it. So that comment is awesome because it's like saying, okay, I've got this tool and I'm not sure about it. So I'm going to try it. That's you leaning in. And I'm now excited to see what's going to happen over time. Just know, like you could have, and we do, when we do their challenges and whatnot, we have miraculous things. There's like, I could show you a million comments of people having these miraculous healings, right? And some of you that are on here have seen those, you've been on those, and you've seen the comments and people with this, that, and the other saying it's gone, right? And, awesome. It may not. It's not being connected to the outcome. That's the neutrality of love and fear. It's not being connected to the outcome. It's about providing something, and whatever happens is to be, right? See what I mean? So if you do this work without having a hit on the outcome. So just for some of you healers out there, or those of you that facilitate, because I don't see people as healers, I see them as facilitators of. I never go in going, I'm going to change, I'm going to make this person better, or I'm going to make this go away. And this is what Circle of Grace is, right? It's connecting in the highest love, the purity of unconditional love, the highest resonance, and what they are to experience, that it come gently, that they learn and receive gently, and whatever is to be for them, maybe so. That, I mean, think about people who have, and I know this is going to trigger some people, right? Right, it's so big, it's just how it is. That when stuff happens, when the shift hits it, right, hits the fan, and that's the contraction. When there's the expansion, what you can see is so much more. You won't be able to see it if you're always in expansion. And in fact, that's death. Either that or that is death. But that is life. So if you only want this or you only want that, it means you want a flat line. That's balance to me. You want a flat line. A flat line medically is death. When your heart goes beep, 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 right? We don't want that. We don't want flatlining. We want the, and it's the same with the trauma response. Actually, I'm just looking over here. I've got the window of tolerance here. I don't know if you can see it, but right. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, it's the window of tolerance. Hyper aroused, hyper aroused, and the window of tolerance. That place where you're just, it's not flatlining. But things might happen and you go up. It's okay to go up. It's when you hit the window of your, or the edge of your vessel, and it starts to stretch you. That's okay. That's that vulnerability. That's that, something's coming, something's coming. I'm stretching to give birth to my energy baby, whatever that might be, what I'm going to cause and create in the world, right? It's when you start to, right? We have to get the vessel strong and be able to stretch and be okay. But you feel the stretch and you don't go into, right? You feel the stretch and you go, my baby's coming. She's a coming, right? My baby's coming and I'm scared, but I'm excited and I can't wait, but I'm going to cry because I probably won't get any sleep and I won't know what to do and there's no rule book. And what's this child going to become? They've got a parent like me, blah, 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 right? Whatever, right? That's your stretch. And then you're like, that was all right because, you made it through. And then you stretch again with your next energy baby, which might be another program or another, you want to start something or even change something in your life. What do you want to cause and create in your life? You might want to, I don't know, start journaling. I'm just looking over there at my journal. Start journaling. You might want to start a creative process. You might want to start this energy work. You might want to start looking at your trauma or, why, what's holding you back. So when you start to get to that window or that stretch, that you don't go outside of it and that's your spin. Right? That's all the triggers. Spin, 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 spin. Or if you drop and you go below that window sill into the other end. Right? So you're stretching your, so all the work, basically all the work I do is creating the space and making that wider so it's more and more you can fit and feel in your vessel that you call, I'm trying to look at all your names, right? Insert name here, right? That's your vessel. And as the light's coming in and filling and filling and filling and filling, you don't go into that spiral of whatever, your attachment stuff is, right? Your attachment and attunement, dysregulation, whatnot. Okay, all right, I'm going to leave it at that. Let's do the bell to complete. If you have any questions, you know where I am. And till we meet again, just thinking when we're meeting. We've got an extra week this month, so I don't know, I might pop in now and then because I have less classes at the end of the month because I usually take the end of the month off face-to-face to do the back-end stuff, back-end admin stuff, right? I'm so excited. There's some awesome stuff coming up. Can't wait to tell you and share with you. And it's all free, so it's even better, right? So let's just integrate some of what we have done. I feel like I've just gone blah and given you all of this information and all of this energy, and maybe your vessel is sort of starting to stretch and bend a little, and you just need to go and receive it. Be okay with the stretch, right? So just taking a breath to come back into your own space. Thinking about all of that information that you can review later. The eights, the homolateral, the triple axis, the hormonal stuff. And how and when you could use that. You could do it every day if you like. It won't hurt you. Okay, and we just breathe with the bell to bring it all into our body, what we can embody. And just being grateful for being here. I'm grateful for all of you who show up every week, sharing your energy, being part of the container. For my lineage, my ancestors, all the information they've shared with me, and all the information I share with you. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for you who may use that information and maybe even share it with your family and friends. And to the beloved, with great love and appreciation for being with us today. So may the blessings be. Enjoy your evening, your day, and until we meet again, much love.